Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, a single envelope in your hands that feels heavier than it should. You open it, and the words on the page seem to blur together. It's a credit card statement, but the name on the account is yours alone. The balance due is $50,000. Your heart plummets because you have never seen this card before in your life. This isn't a scene from a movie. For thousands of people, this moment of financial devastation is terrifyingly real. The most common question they ask is, how did it ever get to this point? How does a partnership built on trust lead to a secret life of debt and deception? The answer is that it almost never happens overnight. It starts with tiny red flags that you are systematically taught to ignore. It begins with gestures that look like kindness, but feel like control. These are not random acts of selfishness. They are calculated moves in a very deliberate game. In this video, we are exposing the narcissist's complete financial playbook. We will show you exactly how it goes from subtle manipulation to outright financial ruin. To truly understand this, we have to start with a fundamental truth. Financial abuse is not a side effect of narcissism. It is a primary tool of control. For a narcissist, money isn't about currency, it's about power. It's one of the most effective and insidious weapons in their entire arsenal. A healthy partner builds a future with you. A narcissist builds a future on top of you. If you've ever felt a knot in your stomach when the bills arrive, you are not alone. You might have been called controlling for simply asking to see a bank statement. Perhaps you were labeled as crazy or paranoid for worrying about their lavish spending. This confusion is not an accident. It is a meticulously crafted environment. This video is designed to bring you clarity in the midst of that chaos. We will break down the psychological drivers behind their financial abuse. We'll then walk through the subtle signs that are so easy to miss in the beginning. Most importantly, we're going to give you a clear roadmap to start taking your power back. Recognizing the signs is one thing, but what can you actually do about it? Stay with me because later in the video, I'll give you a 3-step action plan to start reclaiming your financial sovereignty. But to understand their actions, you first have to understand their motive. It is rarely as simple as greed. The narcissist's financial playbook is driven by 3 core psychological pillars: entitlement, a lack of empathy, and an insatiable need for control. Let's start with entitlement. A narcissist genuinely believes they have a special right to everything, and that includes your money. They don't see financial boundaries. They see resources that are owed to them. This is why they can spend your hard-earned bonus on a luxury item for themselves without a second thought. In their mind, your success is simply an extension of their own sphere of influence. Your inheritance isn't a gift for your future security. It's a sudden windfall for their immediate gratification. They feel entitled not just to what you have, but to what you might have in the future. They will talk about our money when they want to spend it. It becomes your debt when the bill comes due. This profound sense of deservedness is what allows them to act without guilt. Which brings us to the second pillar, a profound lack of empathy. A narcissist cannot emotionally connect with the consequences of their actions on others. They can see you are stressed about debt, but they cannot feel your anxiety. Your sleepless nights over a dwindling savings account are just an abstract concept to them, an inconvenience to their desires. This is how they can gamble away money set aside for your children's education without flinching. They aren't thinking about the child's future. They're thinking about the thrill of the risk right now. They can rack up debt on a shared credit card while you're trying to budget and save because your goals are irrelevant to their impulses. We can't afford this, but what they process is you are trying to stop me. Their inability to feel your financial pain is not a bug. It is the core feature of their operating system. Finally, and most importantly, is the need for control. This is the ultimate endgame of all financial abuse. By controlling the finances, a narcissist controls your choices, your freedom, and your ability to leave. Creating dependency is the goal. If you don't have access to your own money, you can't afford to get your own apartment. If your credit is ruined, you can't qualify for a car loan to get to a new job. If you don't understand the full financial picture, you feel too intimidated to even begin the process of separating. Every dollar they hide, every piece of information they withhold, is another bar on the cage they are building around you. This isn't just poor money management. It is strategic disempowerment. Entitlement lets them take it. Lack of empathy lets them ignore your pain, and the need for control makes it a crucial part of their strategy to keep you. Now that we understand the why, let's look at the how. The road to financial ruin is paved with subtle red flags that look harmless in isolation. As I go through these, see how many sound familiar. You might be surprised at how common these tactics really are. First is the tactic of generous gifts that come with invisible strings. The narcissist might pay for a lavish vacation or buy you an expensive piece of jewelry you didn't ask for. It feels wonderful in the moment, a sign of their love and generosity. But later, that gift becomes a weapon. After everything I do for you, after that trip I took you on, this is how you treat me? The gift was never a gift. It was a down payment on your compliance. Second, they insist on managing all the finances to help you out. They might say, "You're so busy, let me handle the bills," or "I'm just better with numbers, it's easier this way." This isn't about convenience, it's about consolidating information and power. Once they are the sole manager of the money, they control the flow of information. You slowly become a stranger to your own financial life, which is exactly what they want. A third red flag is when they put you on an allowance. This can happen even when you are earning your own income. They might have you deposit your paycheck into a joint account to which you have limited access. Then they transfer a small fixed amount to your personal account for your spending. This forces you to ask permission to use your own money, reinforcing a parent-child dynamic. It is profoundly humiliating and a potent tool of control. Fourth, they make you feel guilty for necessary or normal spending. You might buy new shoes for your child, and they will sigh and say, "I guess we'll have to cut back somewhere else." Or you grab a coffee with a friend, and they will make a comment about how it must be nice to have money to waste. This happens while they have no problem spending lavishly on their own hobbies or desires. The goal is to make you constantly second-guess yourself and feel anxious about every single purchase. Over time, you stop spending money on yourself altogether just to keep the peace. Finally, there is the incredibly subtle tactic of career sabotage. A narcissist may not want you to become too successful or financially independent. So they might create a huge argument the night before your big job interview so you're exhausted and perform poorly. They might forget to pass on an important message from your boss. They might complain that your job is taking up too much of your time and pressure you to take a less demanding, lower-paying role. They are actively working to limit your resources, to ensure you remain dependent on them. Each of these behaviors is a thread, and over time they are woven together into a net. And while they are doing all of this externally, they are waging a secret war inside your head. Now we've talked about what they do, let's talk about what they do to your mind. This is arguably the most important and most damaging piece of the entire puzzle. It's called financial gaslighting. Financial gaslighting is the systematic process of manipulating you into doubting your own perceptions of financial reality. The goal is simple: to make you believe you are incompetent, crazy, or bad with money so they can operate without any scrutiny. It's the constant denial of things they've said or done. You said we could afford this car, and they'll respond with a cold, "I would never say that. You must be remembering it wrong." It's when they question your sanity for being concerned. You see the savings account dwindling and ask about it, and they fire back, "You're overreacting again. Why are you so anxious all the time?" It's when they turn your legitimate questions back on you, accusing you of the very thing they are doing. You ask where a large sum of money went, and they reply, "Stop trying to control me by asking about every penny. You're the one with the problem." Consider the story of a woman who noticed their joint savings were nearly gone, despite both of them earning good incomes. When she brought it up to her husband, he sat her down with a condescending tone. He told her she was financially illiterate and simply didn't understand how investments worked. He overwhelmed her with jargon and charts she didn't understand, making her feel small and stupid. She left the conversation feeling ashamed of her ignorance instead of suspicious of his behavior. He hadn't answered her question. He had invalidated her right to ask it. This is the core of the psychological damage. Over months and years, this constant questioning of your reality erodes your instincts. You start to believe them. You begin to think, maybe I am just bad with money. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I should just let them handle it. Let me be perfectly clear. You're not bad with money. You have been systematically taught to distrust your own financial judgment. Your instincts were not wrong. They were silenced. And it is in that silence that the narcissist makes their most devastating moves. If this is resonating with you, it's because this is a recognized pattern of abuse. Our mission on this channel is to give you the clarity you deserve. If that's what you are looking for, take a moment to hit subscribe and join our community of survivors and thrivers. Once your instincts have been silenced and you've been conditioned to not ask questions, the narcissist can escalate their behavior without fear of being caught. This is where we move from control to outright ruin. This is how you get to that $50,000 credit card bill. It's a slow erosion of boundaries followed by a catastrophic breach. One of the most common escalations is taking out loans or credit cards in your name. They have your personal information, your social security number, your date of birth. With online applications, it is shockingly easy for them to forge your consent. They rack up debt that legally belongs to you, and you may not find out for months or even years, often when a collection agency calls. Another devastating tactic occurs when they sense the relationship is ending. They will preemptively drain joint bank accounts, leaving you with nothing overnight. They might max out all the credit cards, knowing that you are equally liable for that debt. This is a scorched earth policy designed to punish you for leaving and make your survival as difficult as possible. In divorces, they are masters at hiding assets. They'll transfer money to secret accounts, underreport income, or temporarily gift assets to friends and family to keep them out of the settlement. They will make the legal process so expensive and exhausting that you are forced to give up and accept an unfair settlement just to make it stop. The end result of all of this is a life decimated. You are left with crippling debt, a ruined credit score that can take years to repair, and a profound sense of violation. They walk away, often to a new life funded by the very assets they stole from you, while you are left to pick up the pieces. It's a brutal and calculated outcome. Hearing these extreme examples can be terrifying, and I want to acknowledge that. You might be feeling a sense of dread right now, and that's a normal response. The point of this is not to scare you, it is to arm you. Because knowledge is the first and most powerful weapon you need to fight back. So now that you know the playbook, how do you change the game? Let's get practical. Reclaiming your financial independence can feel like an impossible task, but it starts with small, deliberate steps. Here is a 3-step plan to begin that journey. Step 1 is to conduct a forensic audit. This means you need to gather every piece of financial documentation you can safely access. Bank statements, credit card statements, loan documents, tax returns, investment portfolios. Your goal is to create a complete, unbiased picture of your financial reality. You cannot fight what you cannot see. Step 2 is to secure your lifeline. This means quietly opening a bank account in your own name only at a completely different bank. Start redirecting any funds you can, even if it's just a small amount from each paycheck or cash back from groceries. Also, secure your essential personal documents like your passport, social security card, and birth certificate. Keep them somewhere safe outside the home if possible. Remember this rule: the person who controls the information controls the money. Never again give up your access to the full picture. Step 3 is to rebuild your confidence. After years of financial gaslighting, your confidence is likely shattered. Start small to rebuild it. Create a personal budget for your own small expenses and stick to it. Make one small, independent financial decision every day. Each time you do, you are proving the gaslighting wrong and reclaiming your own competency. These steps won't solve everything overnight, but they are the beginning of a new foundation built by you for you. Let's bring this all together. The pattern is dangerously clear. It starts with them offering to handle the bills and can end with you handling the bankruptcy. It is a deliberate path from manufactured dependency to financial ruin. We've seen that it's driven by more than simple greed. It is driven by a deep-seated entitlement, a chilling lack of empathy, and an overriding need for control. We've identified the subtle red flags like weaponized gifts and career sabotage that are designed to be misinterpreted. And we have named the psychological warfare of financial gaslighting that makes you question your own mind. It's vital to remember that financial abuse is never just about money. It is about power. It's about making you feel so dependent, so trapped, so powerless that you believe you cannot leave. They don't just spend your money. They spend your future. Every dollar they waste is another brick in the wall of your dependency. That secret $50,000 debt from the beginning of our video is not a sign of bad spending habits. It's not evidence that you were naive. It is proof of their calculated deception and your profound betrayal. But recognizing it, truly seeing it for what it is the first and most powerful step toward reclaiming your life. The stories and patterns we've discussed today are unfortunately all too common, but they often remain hidden in shame and confusion. If you feel safe to do so, I encourage you to share one financial red flag you experienced or witnessed in the comments below. You never know who is reading them. Your story, your small piece of truth, might just be the wake-up call that someone else desperately needs to see. It can give them the validation they need to start their own journey to safety. Thank you for taking the time to understand this difficult topic. Be safe, and most of all, be kind to yourself.